Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. We are it's a music night. If you all know, I'm the guy who loves music, enjoys music. Couldn't play the radio if it meant my life. I have 0.0 talent. So that's why I bring in these legitimately world champion drummer, member of one of the most legendary punk rock skate bands ever. Like, I'm getting chills as I kid you not, brother. Like, as I'm saying it, I'm thinking to myself, like, do you understand that I've got somebody sitting on the other side of the bar from me who has played in front of crowds of thousands, and he is gracing us with his presence today. I'm going to say first, thank you, Wendy Ford, for putting this together for me. We have, like, we'll have to ask how many accolades you have, but we have with us tonight Mr. Isaias Gil. This is nothing like the applause you've had in the past. It's the best I got, brother.
Oh no, this is great. This is way more.
I gotta thank you. You know, you're down there in Tejas right now, hanging out.
I am. Yeah. Down in
the,
Houston.
We're going to have to make a left turn at some point because I want to know if you've tried something that I want to go to Houston to eat.
Come on.
Viet Cajun.
No.
What? That's like
go.
A Houston thing.
I mean, there's tons of Houston things. That's the cool thing about Houston is
really?
There's so many things. Like the ramen here is one of my favorites.
See, you have a huge Asian American population down there, like monster.
Yeah.
That's where the Viet Cajun thing comes from.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm hip to the name. I haven't been.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into it, but before we get too far, let's go ahead and do some house cleaning. As always, folks, we got the big sign over my right shoulder for those of you that are watching us live. For those of you that aren't, and listening to the audio the next day on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, that you're watching us live. And those of you that are listening on every form of platform we could manage to get it on. I even got it on your grandma's desktop clock. You know, if I could get it there, it's going there. So the amazing thing about this is sticker and a cause. And this is my thing, Isaiah. So sticker and a cause is if somebody has something that they're doing, a charitable organization, something they're supporting, something they're involved in. Don't care what it is, whatever it is, you reach out to me on any one of these platforms I mentioned. Facebook, you have Earplug Podcast Network, you have our Facebook, the Above the Bar Podcast, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You reach out and contact me. Even our email is the Above the Bar Podcast at gmail.com. You reach out and you say, hey, Murph, hey, Sean, I've got this. You send me a sticker. When you send me that sticker, I read about it live on the show. Then the sticker goes up on the board. Our last big drummer was Clay. Let me see if I can figure my. Now there it is. He had Crazy Aunt Rose that came on with us. So I don't know. Do you have like his Crazy Aunt Rose is actually his mom. The lady she is a wild lady.
Oh,
She's
no,
out of control. She's completely out of control.
My mom's super sweet. She would probably tame me down. So,
can't have that.
Yeah.
Can't have tamed down. So we've got that. And then, as always, look, folks, if your media is skipping a beat and you're trying to get it on the metronome, you might want to reach out to Media by Dibs. Media by Dibs. You can find him on LinkedIn as Andrew Dibble, but his Facebook and his YouTube or his Facebook and his Instagram is Media by Dibs. Reach out and you mention Belly Up to the Bar. He's going to give you a 10% discount on your first order with him and a free consultation to tell you about, hey, what kind of media he could do for you. So again, that's Media by Dibs. So, all right, house cleaning is done.
Yeah.
We're getting into it. So as stupid as it sounds, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
So, but let's start with when did you like? I watched the 2010,
Oh man.
bro. When you were like, "LA, you have my heart."
I know, right?
That video, I watched that, and uh, I don't know when you started drumming. You look like you were 4 in that video.
Yeah.
Like you look so. I was like, dude, like, and I'm watching you doing all the stick work. So I was highly impressed by it. Uh,
Thanks.
but when did you start drumming?
Man, I started late. Most guys are like, I started when I was 6 or whatever. I didn't get to really appreciate or play drums till I was 15.
Oh wow.
Yeah. However, there is a picture of me as a kid, like beating pots and pans, and I think every kid does that though.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what
That's
I
just
mean?
it's
Like
noise at
that's
that point.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fun. I think everyone has that heartbeat. Like it's
That's a
like
great way of looking at it.
I want to share like this, whatever, and I dug it, but drums always fascinated me because it was the only thing in the background that felt powerful.
Okay. So not the
Every
power chord, not the power chord, none of that.
well, that just
You know what
sounded
I
like
mean?
noise, right?
I
But
love you
drum,
already.
but drums, you could like just it was just getting you, And I
Oh,
love the noise, but that boosh boosh boosh,
just
it
different.
was it was just in you, like you could feel it. Power chords are beautiful and loud and all that, but there's nothing like that bass drum when they kick the sub in, and it's just like gush, and you feel it in your chest or in your gut, and you're just like, oh, I'm in this,
So you don't subscribe to the guy who hangs out with the band as the drummer.
I do, because that's what I get to do.
It's just so incredible.
Yeah.
And folks, again, I didn't put it up. Let me put the banner up real quick. Isaias Gil, and that's for those of you who don't know, it's ISAIS and then Gil,
No,
GIL. No, did I spell it wrong?
ISA. No, you spelled it right. It's just ISAIAS. Yeah, it's like three.
ISAIAS.
Yeah, it's 3 letters. I just want to confuse you with them. Actually, I didn't do it. My mom did it.
Okay. I'm
So
sitting there going like, wait, I spelled that right, didn't I? I'm going
yeah,
back
you
through.
did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then they make up for it with the last name. It's like
Right.
GIL. And
That's
then
it.
the
Just keep
number
it simple.
yeah, but then the number of times people are like GILL, and I'm like, no, I already complicated the first part. Like, let's keep this one
We're
simple.
to go with keeping this part simple. So 15 years old, was it just, Mom, I'm gonna go play on the drums? Was it, I mean, I would imagine, and this is kind of my thoughts. By 15, you're not drum line, you're not school
Oh
band
no.
drumming. Like those kids are, that's different. But
Yeah, I auditioned for a jazz band at the high school I was in, and they politely told me that I wasn't good enough.
in
Um,
the most polite way. Was there a hug
yeah,
involved? Was there a hug involved? It's
no, just a pat on the back.
okay.
You're like, oh, you're also in swimming. Swimming is really cool, right? You should
That's
focus
good.
on that. Yeah,
Stick with that,
Sw-
kid.
swimming's early. You get here at 6:45. Band happens late. You're probably tired by now.
Don't
Don't worry about it.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
but it's kind of funny for my 20th high school reunion. They were like, "Oh, you should come back," and it was one of the band directors, and I was
right.
like, "Oh yeah, um, no,
Yeah, no, like
thanks,
I'm
I'm good."
good. I've made it this far. And you wonder, like, a guy who kind of just like, meh, like shooed you away. Like this guy could have, like, it's a twofold thing where he could have been a catalyst to make you, push you to that level earlier, or maybe he was like your Michael Jordan moment where
Right.
you didn't make the team, so let me go show you something.
I really think that's what happened, because I've had a lot of great mentors that come in and push that. I was trying to learn how to read music, and I was 25 at the time,
Oh wow.
and I'm already playing gigs, but my charts were a journal.
Okay.
So I'm reading my journal, and I had a great mentor by the name of James Metcalf, and great engineer, great drummer, great friend, great human. He's my papa, and he was just like, okay, well, we can take this, and it'll look like this, and it was, a stick with an X and one with a circle, and I'm just like, what hieroglyphics are we working with right now? But now I use it all the time, right? But
Now,
it,
was that actual drum music you were reading that he showed you, or was this something he created on his
it was
own for
drum.
you?
It was drum notation, but he also like would help me read piano leads. So I would read a lead sheet to where it wasn't, bass and treble clef, but it was just a melody line. And then there were pauses and hits or accents. So he was huge in my life for many reasons, but that being one of them.
Now, to not get too far down the road, I mean, you're talking, you're 25, you're doing gigs at this
Yeah.
point, everything. But how did that change did that change your playing in a drastically positive way, or was it just like I could play different stuff now?
It so going back to 15, I started playing drums, and maybe 3 or 6 months into it, um, I was approached by another pivotal moment, um, person in my life, and he was like, "Hey, man, um, I like that you kind of do your thing." Me doing my thing was not knowing what the heck I was doing. Like
Good
I was
job.
just,
You're doing your
yeah,
thing.
hey, you're doing great, And but he got me into the recording studio, and
At,
yeah,
at 6 months after you were playing,
six six
somebody's like,
months.
why don't we go in the studio? Like that's
Yeah,
savant level.
well, I don't know. I don't know that it
I
was
mean,
my playing. I think it was more like his approach to music, and
okay.
and and him thinking and believing that what I was playing could match what he was paying for in the studio, right?
Okay.
So hey, this kid that's not unorthodox,
Okay.
right? And I remember listening to his music, and I was jamming to a couple of albums at the time, and I heard that guitar riff, that
Oh,
noise. But there was always something in me that was just like, oh, that noise is going ticka 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 ticka. I could do that on drums, so I could match it.
okay.
And I think that's what he dug.
You could
And
pick up on it. You could hold with it.
right,
Almost.
right, yeah. And I'd been playing with CDs at this point with a boombox in my grandparents' garage behind me. And I couldn't play the drums too loud because either I wouldn't hear it or the CD would skip.
Back when they used to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is before the shock system came in and all that, right? So it
For
was it
those of you
was
that are
really.
old enough to remember holding the Sony Discman before
Oh,
the yellow, before the yellow one, because the yellow one came out and that thing was like
it
turbo.
had it had like the
The
hooks.
clips had the clips, so that shit, like you were like, dude, I could drop this, it doesn't skip.
Oh
But
yeah,
the black Sony
yeah.
Discman,
With the little flop
you
top.
walked with
Yep.
that thing like it was a serving plate everywhere you went. You were like, I got this, and people would get near
Yeah,
you, be like, stop, you're gonna bump me, you're
yeah,
gonna skip my CD. What are you doing?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
oh, I dug that, man, and yeah, that's
That.
so I
How
I
much
could
money do
keep it.
you owe to Columbia House still?
Oh man, on cassettes, dude, because
we,
they didn't tell you, like, you ordered three and you were allowed to keep one with your subscription,
right.
right? But if you kept all three, then it doubled in price for that second one and then tripled for that third one. My family must have hated me, and they were so kind. Like,
I
yeah.
Do you remember the 1 cent deal from Columbia House? Like it was like a penny for
Yes.
9 CDs, and you were like, "This is." And like I remember getting like Dre Day and all
Ugh.
kind like Nirvana, all kinds of that hard
See, you
90s.
you were cool. I remember getting Rick Astley. Never
Uh,
gonna give you up.
Up, never gonna let you down.
I
Never
wanted
gonna
that
run
out.
around and
Just that
desert you.
just that one track got played so much. It was like
Oh,
never gonna give. It's like just slow
uh,
down.
I
So
remember finding a Billy. My mother showed up at the house just for music for a minute with a box of tapes of mine, and there was the Billy Ocean tape in there from the movie Romancing the Stone.
okay.
He wrote the theme music for Romancing the Stone. It was Billy Ocean. I'm like, God, I forgot all about this thing. But I remember being a kid, I played the shit out of that song.
Yeah, man. Man. There was something magical about that. You discovered music.
Right.
You didn't get music.
Right. It wasn't you weren't bombarded with it. You had to
Yeah.
listen to the radio and that's a
Yeah.
great question. So here you are at 15 years old, you decide to become a drummer. And Nate's popping up. What's up, brother? What's up, man? Make sure you're sharing this with everybody,
Hey,
Nate,
Nate.
so we can get some folks out there. Or we would laugh at you. Somebody's always laughing at me. Sean, save the music for the guests. Hey, look, you like my singing. That's the only thing I could do. As I was in concert choir.
There you
I could
go.
I could do that. But so at 15,
Hmm.
yeah, and just how old are you? I'm 45.
I am 38.
Okay. So you're on the backside of the music I was listening to. But
Yeah.
so
I didn't
who
mean that like,
no, no,
yeah.
no.
I
No,
mean, like,
fuck you. I'm 38, guy. Look at the gray in your beard. Um, but when you're listening to music, you're 15 years old. That's what Blink 182's real big at that point. Um,
yeah, well, uh, my uncle, who was like a father figure to me, um, he passed away around that time, and then he left behind a couple of Sting albums, right?
oh,
Sting, um, a Spanish artist, Alejandro Sanz, which weirdly enough, I come to find out that Vinny Colaiuta, one of my favorite drummers, was Sting's drummer for Ten Sumner's Tales, who was also drumming for Alejandro Sanz. So
what?
I'm listening to these tunes, but like he's amazing, right? He's like playing Shania Twain, Reba, all this stuff on tour with Sting, and before that, Frank Zappa was his like cat. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and and
Frank Zappa gets the horns at all
right,
points. I
yeah.
mean, it's just one of
So
those names. Like you got to just throw it up for Frank Zappa.
yeah, so that's who I was trying to emulate, right? Songs like 7 Days, dun, dun, it's like it's this pop tune that plays on the radio, but it's 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4, but it's not take five. It's got this melody line, it's got all this stuff behind it, and I'm just playing along, trying to keep up. So I wasn't told that it was complicated or like a hard thing to do. I was just
You just
trying to.
did it.
Well, I didn't just do it. It took time, but it was. I No one told me it was supposed to be hard. You know,
Right.
and I love that so much because I'm working with a student right now, and I love him. Like he's so just focused and asks smart questions. He's like, "Hey man, we're counting to four, but I play this 3 times," and I'm like, "Yeah." And then I look at him, he's like 6. I'm thinking, I'm never gonna tell you how complex
Right.
what you're playing is. So I've got him playing right-handed, and I'll make him play a fill, and then he comes back, plays left-handed, and does it without thinking, or you know what
Just
I
is.
mean?
It
Yeah,
just is.
it's just I'm just counting. So that's something that I learned by accident, that now it's such a gift to share, because Music is, to me, a vocabulary and instinctual. So if I don't tell you it's complicated, you won't know it's complicated. And so now you can play Tool, or you can play Blink 182, or you can play, whatever you want to play, because you're just playing music.
That's so.
And
That's
yeah,
like okay. So now, did you go to college for music? Did you go to college? I mean,
I did. I wanted to be a pediatrician. you
now
know,
I've taken some hard left turns on this show in
yeah.
conversation. That could be one of the hardest left turns. Like, so what was your original plan after school? Pediatrician. What do you do now? World famous drummer, champion drummer. I teach 6-year-old how to drum. So that's how I got back to
Yeah.
pediatrician. I teach
Yeah.
6-year-olds.
Oh man, I hadn't even put that together. Yeah.
See?
There
See?
you go. Thank you.
Bar
Yeah.
conversations. Now, I got to ask this real quick. So, have you ever been picked on by like somebody thinks they're picking on you and then they they make a comment and then you're like, I'm going to come at you for this? Can you tell me what that says right there? I know what he meant.
Yeah.
Nate, before you ever pick on me again, go learn how to spell Metallica. Metallica. I might have went to high school with her. I think I went to high school with Metallica. She had a brother.
She sounds lovely.
She sounds lovely.
Yeah.
So how far did Metallica? That is your next album. Look, he's gonna talk about big thumbs, bitch. That's what talk to text is for. Don't blame the look. You and your jitterbug. Oh man. God, that's so great. That is so awesome. Oh God,
I did listen. I did listen to Metallica.
Do you listen to Metallica?
Yeah.
Metallica as a musician sounds like that was something that like your great grandparents or grandparents listened to.
Yeah.
And they were like, listen here, boy, you need to listen to Metallica. And you're like, I'm like, Grandma, I'm not listening to Metallica. She sucks. She's like, you don't understand.
You don't understand Metallica. Metallica is pure.
That's it. Metallica is pure music. I love Metallica. Do you know when your grandfather and I met? We were listening to Metallica. We danced all night to Metallica.
Your mother came from Metallica. You are only here because of Metallica.
Without Metallica, your mother would not be here. Do you know we almost named your mother Metallica? Do you know this?
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. That is the most amazing thing. Oh, I love it. I'm sorry. That was a hard left for a moment, but that was amazing.
That's great. Yeah.
Oh, he's so mad at me right now.
Like
I love Nate. Nate and I text all the time. He's calling. Look, Nate, I love you.
Oh no.
I love you. He'll be texting me any minute like you're an asshole.
No.
Everybody gotta go check out Nate's show. Also, Nate's great. Nate's the guy. Like Nate will be the one I end up introducing you to after this because he'll find like 5 more shows for you to be on because that's what he does.
Sweet.
He's that guy. But so how far did we get into college and the pediatric side before you were like, I'd rather play the drums?
Well, I grew up with my grandparents, and my uncle played classical guitar. And so my grandpa was all about listening to it. No one else in the family was a musician. So when my turn came about, he was like, okay, well, if you're down for guitar, that's awesome. And he wasn't really crazy about drums, and very anti about drums, actually.
Really? But why was he anti about drums?
I think it's a generational thing, right? So for classic guitar, the loudest instrument you would have in that would be like a cajon, right?
Okay.
Maybe a shaker.
Now which one is the cajon?
The box.
Yeah, okay.
From Spain. It makes a ton of drums like sounds. And I said from Spain, like I know it may be somewhere else. I don't know.
Well, we see that
But
a lot now too, don't we? Like Jason Mraz has somebody that plays it. That's the one people
yeah,
sit on, right?
right.
Okay.
So prior to that, it's very interesting to play because you get all of these tones from this box. So the top of it, if it's nailed, you leave the nails out just a tiny bit so that the lip of the box can smack the shell and it creates a snare-like sound.
Oh wow.
But then the mid part of it is kind of like a bass drum. So you really have a whole drum set there. And then they make some now. Before it used to be like guitar strings down the middle, so you could really like get some snary sounds. But it was still loud and way quieter than a drum set. So I don't think he was hip to that idea. Um, and so he was just not about it. But I go and do this recording, and they're like, "Cool, we'll mail you a check." I'm 15. I don't know what that means.
Wait a sec. So hold on. You have skipped an entire thing here.
No, no,
So
no, no,
you're
no.
15 years old.
Uh-huh.
Some random guy says, "Hey
Yeah.
kid, I like the way your drums are. Come
Yeah.
in the studio with me." You play music, and then all of a sudden he's like, "I like it. I'll send you a check."
Yeah.
That's what I just heard.
Yeah. Which is
Okay.
funny because I mean, when I grew up, there was a lot less fear of everything we know now.
Yes.
So my family was very trusting. Like, oh yeah, this guy, he showed up to the house. He had some tacos with us, and yeah, of course, you can go to the studio with him. And so I jump in a car, and I'm gone for a day and a half, and I come back, and I'm like, safe. They're like, cool, no cell phones, no like. you, you know, like it was just whatever.
Okay.
So, yeah, my grandpa taught me how to fight. So if I needed to get out of something,
You were good. You were good.
maybe.
You were hoping. You're
Yeah,
15 years old. This is a grown man.
you can't fight someone giving you hugs. Like, come on, don't fight me, hug me. That was my way out of
Wow.
fights. So, but I yeah, I get home and a week later a check arrives in the mail, and my grandpa had this habit of just opening everyone's mail. Like,
You're
yo,
in my house. I'm
you're
opening
in
your
my
shit.
house. This is my property. And he saw the check, and it was maybe $400 or $500.
Still.
But yeah, I remember him handing it to me, and very serious. I knew you could do it. And I lost it. I was like, no, you didn't. You were telling me not to.
Did
do
you
it.
really tell him that?
Yeah, not like I'm saying it now, right?
Oh,
Like
okay.
a
I was about to say, like,
50-year-old coin. Yeah. But I was like, no, and from that point on, I knew I could do it. And then when college came about, it was a little bit complicated with just family stuff and whatnot. But I knew I had this in the back burner, so I just started saying yes to everything. Can you play jazz? Sure. Had no idea what jazz was, so I would just go. And at the time, there wasn't YouTube or
right.
Apple Music, so I would get. You remember the Real Book?
What is
The
that? No.
jazz book. It had all the standards on it.
Okay.
So I would check out some of the tunes, and then either go to the library or just find a way to figure things out. At the time, Napster was happening, so that was a lifesaver because I could check out a stream or two. Kids don't steal music,
Right.
but
Napster. Because Malik, right back to it. Matalika will come to your
full cycle. Yeah,
full cycle. Matalika's coming to your house if you steal music. I need you to understand that.
We'll get you. Yeah,
Have you ever seen the videos of that when they stormed Napster?
but they were right. They were
It's
right.
such a
It at that moment in time, they did what was right about.
They were ahead of it.
Yeah.
Today we wouldn't question it. Then we questioned it because we said, well, I can listen to music on the radio and put it on a tape and I don't pay for that. Who
Right.
gives a shit?
Yeah.
That was a different era we were transforming.
But look at it now.
Oh, now
People
it's
spend, $20,000, $30,000 to make an album, and then someone gets one song for 99 cents, and the artist gets 12 cents on that $20 or $30,000 investment. So I feel like they approached it quite aggressively, but you wouldn't expect less from Metallica.
Metallica's pretty tough crew.
Yeah.
But I can't. From now on, it's Metallica. But what's interesting, we actually had a music producer on. My brain's not working right this second, and he was telling me, he's like, it takes some ridiculous amount of downloads for an artist to for what they would make for one album purchase.
Mm-hmm.
To download is crazy. And it never dawned on me the numbers, because I think about it today. I have Apple Music. I pay $10 a month, and
you listen to anything you want.
Yeah, you drop a new album tomorrow, or I know an artist that's dropping an album in 6 months and they've announced the date. I can click on that and say reserve. So the day it happens, it notifies me, hey, this is in your library. And I'll never think about it again.
Right. I've been working with studios a little while, and so I try to be mindful of it. And then there's certain acts like, I don't know, Metallica wouldn't care if I downloaded one of their songs right now, right?
Well, but their last album sucked.
Well, but that snare sound. That
did you like the Saint Nothing? What is it, Saint Nothing? I couldn't.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, you really? I've listened to that album and
no. I'm shaking my head. No, sorry.
No, okay. I'm just making like I'm sitting there like. No, I tell people all the time, the worst concert I've ever been to was a Metallica concert. Was the worst concert by far. One of the best concerts, AC/DC.
Ooh,
dude, you've never seen.
Wow,
you've never seen a group of senior citizens so active in your life,
dude. That's good.
And this was in 2010, 2011. I saw them. So the whole band was still together. Everyone was still alive, and they performed here in Albany. That's another thing. So I know we're kind of sidetracked because we both enjoy music. We really enjoy it. And look, folks, you have to take the time, get out there. Nate's over here with an angry. Nate, we love you. Don't send angry faces because
Sorry, man. I'll stop saying Metallica.
We can't. It's never happening. Tomorrow it happens. But so here you are. You're in college, and we kind of got to this point where you got to make this decision, because you said by 25 you're playing paid gigs. Is it? That's the other thing I'm curious of before we get even into that. Are you still a solo, joining other bands, kind of filling in the drum spot for them, or are you in your own band as a full-time traveling band member?
I was in 2 bands at the time, but we were kids, man. We didn't know what we were doing, so we were playing shows. I remember one band, we got money to play this show, so we paid $600-700 to be part of this showcase. And I look back now, and how terrible of those people putting that show together to take money from kids, you know?
Oh yeah. So you had to pay them to be in their show.
Yeah.
What a scumhole move.
But totally. But at the same time, I was playing with Houston has a beautiful music scene. Any night of the week, still you can listen to jazz, hip hop, like you name it, whatever you want to get into, it's going to happen. So I was playing in a wedding band, and I was coming home with that $500 check that took me a day and a half. I was coming home with that $500 check in 4 hours. And so then
That ain't a bad
I,
return on your
I
time.
no, I'll go play 3 weddings this week, and at early 20s, making
A couple of bridesmaids out there for you.
yeah, no, I never had
No?
that. No,
What?
because no one sees the drummer, man.
Oh.
Yeah, it's always,
Unless you're like Phil Collins. Like, you got to be Phil Collins.
yeah,
You see
yeah.
he retired completely, played his last gig the other day?
Man,
Did you see that?
I was lucky enough to meet him and play
Really?
here in Houston for a TV show thing for him, and just the nicest, most
He seems like
noble
a nice guy.
human. Oh, just so great. And the news anchor asked him, uh, so it, one of my friend now is a close friend, but at the time just kind of hooked me up with the thing. Um, he asked him, so any advice for an up and coming drummer? And Phil Collins just looks at me and goes, watch your back. And I was thinking,
What did he mean?
money. He actually meant watch the posture on your drum set. And we had a whole
Oh, no
conversation
shit.
about, yes, because this is why he has to retire, because of his poor posture and like just how it affected his playing, and then having to get all these shots that was affecting his voice, that was doing all of this other stuff. He actually literally meant watch your back.
Your physical back.
Yeah.
So as a drummer, for somebody who's out there that's listening to this and catching this on the playbacks or on the Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all those things, and they're catching this playback, for a up and coming drummer, my kids have owned drum sets, have tried to play. Some of them can hold a beat. They don't get that from me. But how do you do that? Those stools don't have backs to them.
They don't, but it's your seat height, right? And then also, that aside, when you sit down at a chair, just normally, your feet kind of go outward, right? A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When drummers set up a drum set, the first thing they do is grab that bass drum and put it front and center. So that takes your feet from this to this.
So it should be offset.
So it changes every muscle twitch that's happening because you're pounding that bass drum the whole time. And then you want to look cool, so you set up things funky or whatever, and your back comes in. And so now, like, there is no support up here, and there's no support with your feet because they're offset. Or I'm sorry, on this side. So it would be right.
Yeah.
So very simple steps on how your body works, and setting up a drum set to work for you, not you working to have to play the drum set. And so I became hip to that early on, and I'm still aware of that and take lessons for it. And anatomy is huge because it's such a physical
Oh yeah.
instrument, and you have to be an athlete for it. Like you're playing with Black Flag. That was 2 hours of go from
Of
beginning to
intense.
end.
Was
Yeah,
that now?
yeah.
Were you playing a double bass for Black
No,
Flag? No,
no. Not because they wouldn't allow it or anything. It
just
was
wasn't the
just,
music.
it wasn't necessary. And the moments that I did want to embellish like a double bass drum thing, I could do it with my floor tom because I wasn't tensed up the whole time through.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That. So we're 25. We've learned how to read music.
Yeah.
We're getting into it. When did you? And let's get into the Black Flag thing for a minute, because I can remember, how like that was. They are and you'll correct me if I'm wrong. They are the skater punk equivalent of Sex Pistols to
I
punk
won't.
rock music.
I won't correct anyone about anything music related, especially Black Flag, because it has so many
connotations, meanings, values.
entities. Yeah,
There you go,
totally,
entities.
right? Yeah. So one of the craziest things was seeing people come up and say bad things about whatever because it wasn't this singer,
Oh, it wasn't the
or
Henry
it wasn't
Rollins days, or
it wasn't this bassist, or it wasn't this drummer, right? um, but then there were other guys that would come up and would love it because they would understand the homage to that,
right.
and understand that music just transitions. So, I mean, how great and what a privilege it is to play for the guy that wrote the tunes, wrote the music, wrote the lyrics. Like Greg Ginn is Black Flag, you
Right.
know, and other people interpreted certain things, and other people wrote music. Whatever. I'm not taking
Right,
away
right.
from anybody, but he created this and believed in people enough. Like, hey, you shouldn't be a guitarist. You should be the lead singer, and gave them that spot when that wasn't even on their radar. Like
Now,
he
who did he do
just,
that for? Who did he do that with?
oh well, that's you
Or is that
know,
just a general thing? Like I thought you
yeah.
were saying, like that's how. Like I don't know
No,
like Henry
there's
Rollins' backstory, like of getting to that point. But I'm
oh
more
yeah,
curious
and
of how do you like how does that come to pass? Because I mean, you're you're playing in other bands. You're again, world go see that. Look, folks, if you Google Isaias Gil, and I'm going to spell it again. I'll spell it phonetically: India Alpha Sierra, and then Gil is
thank you.
just golf. It's just Golf India Lima. Uh,
Yeah.
a- and you Google him. This video pops up from 2010 of this 4-year-old playing. I'm sorry, you look so young
That's
in that
great.
video,
I
and
know.
playing this like drum, and you're like, this dude's a beast,
Oh,
and
thanks, man.
and just getting at it. So how do we go? We're moving forward. We're 25. We've learned to play the music. So when do we start like because this is your life now. This is it.
Yeah.
There's no other way of calling it professional drummer. So what's the next? Is there other bands before the Black Flag Adventure, or how does that work?
Yeah, tons of them. Like I was saying, the wedding band thing, because that was showing me how to play uh, blues or jazz or
Oh, okay.
swing. It was one of those things where I didn't know it was hard. It was just, this
This is
is
what
what
I'm going
you
to
have
play.
to play. Yeah. These are the songs you have to learn, or Latin stuff. In the video, I got a lot of shit for saying, I'm Mexican. This is a cumbia. Two separate statements, but there are so many people that are like, cumbia is from blah blah blah, and I'm like, dude, I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Welcome.
I love music, and it could come from an animal. Like I don't know. Like it could be whatever. I was just making a statement to be funny, because I wanted the crowd to engage. And when you're playing drum solos for 5 minutes at
Oh, yeah.
20 something, that seems like an hour. And so how do you keep them engaged? Oh, I'm going to wear two shirts. I'm going to do this. So it was a lot of like gimmicky stuff that, looking back, I wouldn't change a thing about it, because I didn't use the electronic stuff. I didn't do any of this stuff. I used comedy, music, and my heart. Like that's all I have.
Now, is that
So
the only time you competed in the worlds, or?
I actually started the competition early on, but I wouldn't compete. I would just show up because that was my drum lesson, because
Oh,
I didn't know what I was doing. And I realized there's only two kinds of drummers: the drummers that are really kind and are just like, I would walk up to them and ask, hey man, this thing you did, it was like, they were like, oh yeah, dude, that it's just right hand, right foot, left hand, whatever. And then the other guys, they would be like, oh no, that's my lick. And those guys I loved because I would sit there and watch them move on to the next level
Oh,
because they were good, you know? And then next year I would show up and I would play there, like whether I was competing or not, I would just play whatever. And I'm like, I've been studying you for a year.
I've got you now.
Yeah.
I have your soul.
Oh man, I'm so
That's
stubborn.
wild.
Yeah, if you tell
I
me I
love
can't
it.
do something, I'm like, if there's a legit reason why, like I
Right.
can't dunk,
Right. We're
you
not
know?
dunking.
Yeah, cool, got it.
Shit
But
happen.
but and if there's not a legit reason, I'm like, well, why not? Let me try it.
Okay. So like, and I'm trying to stay on track here. So
Sorry.
there's all no, no, it's me because I find all this fascinating. There's nothing cooler to me than somebody from an individual effort. Look, I love team sports. I'm a big football fan. Nate and I, we pick on each other all the time, but him and I talk football often. But I'm a big football fan. So it's team sport. But there's still
Yeah.
nothing about that individual single effort that somebody puts through and becomes at that level. The 10,000 hour moment.
Right. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
you're at that. You have your 10,000 hours
Yeah.
into that, and so you're into this. And I know I've brought up Black Flag a lot because
No,
it,
that's great.
it's one of those kind of things. So you is that
Oh
like
no.
somebody picks up the phone and says, Isaias, we have an opening. We need a drummer. We're going on a tour. Is that you got to audition? How does that work?
So I worked with Mike Vallely on his solo stuff. Mike was singing with Black Flag at the time that this happened, and I think the way most music stuff has worked for me is just be a good dude. You know, like the music is fun, and most anybody can play anything. But what are you like outside of the gig, you know, or getting into it? Are you stressing out because you don't have your microphone, or you don't have your right guitar strap, or you don't have the right drum set, whatever? People pick up on that energy, and it feeds into everybody else. I wouldn't want to go to battle with someone that is worried that, you know, they don't have the right holster. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's one of these things where it's like you you can still perform. You've trained enough to where you can pick up. I could. There was one gig. I played for this. I play with this guy, Charlie Harrison. He's a great country guy. Love him to death. Great human. One of our first gigs, he called me and he was like, "Hey man, there's a drum set there. You don't need to bring your gear. Maybe just bring breakables." So I showed up with a snare, my sticks, and cymbals. Halfway through the gig, the drummer, decided he wasn't sharing his gear.
what?
And so we were up next, and the guy just started breaking his gear down. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So I
Shit in my
got,
hat.
but we still had the mics. So I'm just thinking, okay, what can we do? So I got a bar stool, and I had my snare. And so I had low end, high end, and I had my sticks. And so I could put my cymbal right here on without a stand on this like piece of metal and still get a tink a tink sound. And we played 30 minutes with bar stool, a snare drum, and like a cymbal just hanging off of nothing. And it was awesome because it was challenging for me, but it also didn't stress Charlie out because I was going to show up.
Right. You were there. You were good.
Yeah. And after the gig, the guy was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you didn't have a drum set." I'm like, "Dude, you knew there was no other drum set."
Right. Like you had the only one. You didn't see me
Yeah.
wheel shit in. There was no
Right.
boxes.
Yeah.
That's why. But I mean,
Yeah.
that goes to how good a drummer you really are. Like
Oh
That,
no,
bro, no,
that's
stop.
just like that's just understanding sounds and just being creative, not being freaked out in the moment, right? That's being able to show up.
Bro, bro, bro.
I don't
Listen
know.
to me. If somebody's like, hey, Murph, you don't have your microphone to do your show, I would probably be like, what do you mean? I got 5 of them. What do you mean I don't have my mic? I have 5 microphones. What do you mean I don't have one?
Yeah.
Like I
I
would
was I
lose
was
my.
actually worried about it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use this. I don't
Oh,
have
that's
a
that's
setup,
fine. But see, that's fine. See, look, those Apple headphones, as long as they're not old ones, they work perfectly fine on this.
Okay, cool.
But oh, now here's somebody who could tell you how to set up a studio. Mr. Junaid just popped in.
Hey.
Junaid is he does a master class on setting up a studio. He was a guest a couple of weeks ago. My man he's got this studio where he just goes, "Hey Siri, set up studio," and all of his lights dim down and shit changes, like straight transformer shit, straight
I
transformer
want to go
stuff.
there.
His area, brother. I'm geeking out about your studio setup. So, now you left that gig with Black Flag. How long ago has that been?
Well, so it hasn't been left, right?
Okay, all right, because
Um,
nobody's
it
touring really, but
right. So we were in South America, and I was I was playing drums. I was stage managing, and
oh wow,
I was like helping out with as much logistics as I could. It's very DIY, which I loved. I learned so much from it. But we landed in Peru, and they started. Oh yeah, man! They started shutting down the borders, and we had a show in Mexico City, a festival to do, and when they started shutting down, like, you can't travel here, you can't travel here, you can't travel here. We all just decided, let's get back home.
yeah, that makes
and
good sense.
and so we left Peru, didn't do the festival in Mexico City. The festival still went on, and the next day, um, I saw a news report like the Peru airport had been shut down, like
Like
where
you
we
guys got out,
were,
like you guys got out just in time.
within like 6 hours, man.
Holy shit!
Yeah, like, yeah. One of us flew to Miami, another one to LA, two of us to Dallas. I was trying to figure out where we could go. There were no like full tickets for anything. So as long as we could get back into the States, rent a car,
You get home.
whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know that it's done. I don't know that it'll continue, but I feel like this is the trajectory that the band kind of does. It does something really powerful, and then it simmers so that there's a little bit more hunger for it next time.
Now I got to ask this question because I think anyone who's a fan, have you played with, or has there ever been any talk of Henry Rollins coming back and doing any shows, or have you ever done a show with him?
I haven't done a show with him. There have been rumors of him being in the crowd or around.
Oh, really? While you were
Um,
playing?
well, I didn't know while I was playing.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, though. But
After,
like you
yeah,
found out
yeah, yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. So however true or not that is, I yeah.
No.
But it for me it wasn't. I was lucky enough not to know too much about Black Flag.
Okay.
I got the gig because Mike was gracious enough to think of me as a good drummer
He knew you were
for
a great
this
drummer.
fit.
Stop
Thanks,
saying
man.
good. Stop saying good. Stop saying
Yeah.
good, bro.
Yeah, well, he was like, "Hey, you could do this," and I
Kid, you might be all right.
I I remember I was sitting in a restaurant in bougie Carmel, right?
Oh,
Like
nice.
I'm in Carmel, and just like in this restaurant, like,
darling.
yeah, like just wine, and
Pinkies up.
I'm way out of place here. I like they didn't have any sour beer. They didn't
Oh,
have
can
any.
you like sour beer?
Oh, they're so good. Yeah.
Well, next
Like,
time you make it to if you make it to New York,
let's do it.
and we'll do like a complete, like we have Ithaca Brewing. In
Yeah.
it.
I'm hip to it.
Oh, yeah. Have you had their? I had their sour one time, and I drank it, and I looked like a pirate afterwards
Oh,
because
yeah, that
my eye was all
face.
jacked up, and I was like,
It
"What?"
has to hit you back here, man.
I'm like, "What
Like,
the hell is this?" And
yeah.
I walked it right back up to the girl, and I said, "I'm sorry, I can't." She's like, "It's all right." She's like, "What do you want?" And I had Ithaca Flower Power, which is an amazing beer. Uh, it's like a pilsner or something. But I was like, I can't fuck with these
Oh
sours.
man.
I
Yeah,
can't.
I love
Do you like
sours.
kombucha? You probably like kombucha too, don't you?
I don't do kombucha.
Because like
Yeah, I
kombucha,
can't.
like kombucha is like the same
No, but
level to
see,
me.
that's different. That hits you in the tongue.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like, and it like numbs your tongue. I don't like
yeah.
that. I
It
want
steals your
like
soul.
a little bit, right? But I want this like just a bunch of sweethearts in my
Oh,
mouth. And I
it's.
just want to like chew it all at once. And that's my
I know
most
the feeling
favorite.
you're talking about. Like I
Yeah,
love
yeah, yeah.
Sour Patch Kids. Like I would annihilate
Yeah.
the big pack of Sour Patch Kids all day long. Like if there's something sour, I'm all about it. Love strawberry rhubarb. Love rhubarb. Like that
Just
sour.
not the beer.
I can't. I've tried. Now that was the only one I've ever tried. I
That's
will.
cool.
I always say I'm willing to try something again as far as that
Yeah.
stuff, but I can't mess with it. I do have to ask you about Peru because I have a
Yeah.
buddy who's Peruvian. Like, were
Yeah.
you there long enough to have like the giant crazy Peruvian corn, eh,
No.
or eat a gerbil? What is it? Gerbils or hamsters?
Okay, so I was gonna say no to like the corn, right?
Right. But you ate
I
they ate the gerbil, didn't you?
Yeah, but it was like dressed up fancy, you know?
Had ketchup and everything on it. It was
Yeah,
fancy.
yeah, yeah. It was like it had mayo, mayo, mustard. They called it a hot dog.
Oh,
And
please tell
then,
me they really did. They were like, no, it's a hot dog. You'll love it.
no, no, no. I knew what I was ordering.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so great.
but like yeah, I wanted to do the thing. So
Oh, you had to do it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, you had to do it. That's so great. So we're talking drums still. So is there any drummers out there? Like growing up as a kid, again, like I said, I was introduced to music a lot by my Uncle Mike. I have two Uncle Mikes, one that went to Berkeley for music
Mm.
and like legitimately hugely important. I still have his band. Let's see if I can get it in here. I have
Yeah.
his band tattoo of Cocapelli. It says Rainmaker. He played for a band called Tom Wright and the Rainmakers, opened for James Brown. I've been backstage for
Oh
James
man.
Brown, saw him in concert 2 times. My wife and I always go to concerts. We're actually, it was funny because my wife recently was like, well, you don't like country music. I don't. I hate country music. I can't stand it. I don't like it. But I like bluegrass and I like Chris Stapleton.
I'm gonna
I think it's
send
different.
well. I'm gonna send you Charlie's album.
Send me Charlie's album.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think you might dig it.
well, we're going to see Chris Stapleton.
Yeah,
So
that's pop country.
right. And like very different. But see, like I said, one of my favorite movies is Loretta Lynn, Coal Miner's Daughter. Love that movie. Watch it every time it comes on. I will sit and watch that damn thing all the time. Tommy Lee Jones is like 25 in that movie. Sissy Spacek is amazing. So, nonetheless, so I grew up with a lot, but my bigger drumming influences were John Bonham.
Yeah,
Like that, when you talked about powerful, that's
yeah.
like they said that dude was such a loud drummer. They would put the sound equipment in the hall
Sure.
because he was so powerful. Was there anyone, like I know you said you've had a lot of influences, people you've met. I saw your recent picture about meeting your heroes.
Yeah.
Um, but was there ever somebody else? I know you mentioned the earlier person. It wasn't
Vinny
Matalika.
Colaiuta.
Vinny Colaiuta wasn't Matalika. Wasn't
Metallica.
Matalika.
Yeah.
But is there anybody else that has been like, when you talk about power, like
Yeah.
that's, I think that, and I think Keith Moon, I think like those are dudes that like
Yeah.
were psychopaths, beat, like the goal was to beat a hole in that thing.
You know, the cool thing about Bonham to me was he understood music, like big picture. So he was using big drums that were like intended to cut through. Like it was a jazz band setup, right? So big old bass drum, big old toms, so that it could cut through horns. At least that's my understanding of it, right? But he used it in a rock setting,
which is so wild.
but it makes sense because those are the same frequencies that the guitar is carrying, you know, that the organ is carrying. It's just understanding the sound of music, not music like what they were doing, but the frequency of it. So understanding that the horns might carry this pitch that might also match the pitch of Jimmy Page's lead guitar. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
That kind of thing, like his playing was thought out, which
That's science there. That's science in it.
yeah, but sometimes science isn't something you have to equate. It's just something that lives within you. You just hear, like you have all the instruments you need right here. You just have to use them. You know?
Dude, that's deep.
I
I'm gonna
don't
let you
know.
know. I look those. So what's next up? Next up for you in as all this is coming together, we're coming out of the. I don't know if you watch the news, you see China's all back in the pandemic,
Oh
but
man.
as here in the States, we're coming out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
We're kind of getting ourselves back together, putting things back in place for ourselves. What's next for you?
I'm working a total of 7 bands right now, but it's worked out because no one's doing the same thing, right? No one's.
You're playing in 7 bands?
Yeah.
How do your brain not mush?
It's so fun because they're all unique. There's one band that we're working a little bit more and more and more, Leon the Third, and it's really cool. It's this kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Psychedelic rock is the best description I can give it, but it's not that. It has a lot of noise, but it has a lot of groove, and the whole thing on my end is keeping it groovy, making sure things are cool. But then there's space to create. There's one tune we play, and everything's just like God, just bashing, and then it gets to the guitar solo, and the guitar gets really pretty and light. So I'm like it just the dynamic just changes drastically, and it happens for maybe 30 seconds, and then we're right back into this just like bombastic, just
It's so funny you talk like a drummer. So it's like
yeah well,
and then
that's
it's like
oh, speaking of which, I was in the studio last week with a country guy, super sweet dude, and I wasn't playing what he was hearing, and so he's like, "Hey man, on this part I'm hearing," and he starts singing the melody. He's like, "Ba-dum-na-na-na-na," and he does it again, and he does it again. I was like, "Man, I hope this doesn't sound rude, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I don't know what you're asking me to play." And the producer was hip to both lingos, right?
okay.
So he was like, he means bass drum, and I'm like, would have never gotten that from, which makes sense that you call me out on it, because now that's what I get for calling him out on it.
Right, like I hear it as somebody who doesn't do those things.
Right.
I hear you doing it a couple of times. I'm like, okay, he's into that. He's doing it.
Drum brain. Yeah.
There you go, drum brain. Like
Yeah.
I said, talking with my buddy Tom and talking with Clay and now talking with you, I hear the drummer lingo of like, yeah, it's like, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like,
what are those chopsticks doing on that table?
right. Yeah. Like to me, I'm like, Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
That's just wild to me, man. It really, truly is. It's super impressive. So 7 bands,
Yeah.
we got that going on. Plus you're teaching music.
Yeah.
When do you sleep?
Rarely. Yes.
Rarely.
Yeah. Yesterday, I played with one of the bands. My buddy Luba has a band, and we went to Austin, and it's about a 3-hour drive there. And we played for 2 hours, and then drove 3 hours back. And I'm got in at 5:30 this morning,
God.
and then I was up at 8. I'm walking dogs while I'm in town. I love that, man. Like
So,
I got to keep busy. So
and you walk dogs like a gig to walk dogs?
yeah, it's fun, and
The,
people pay really well for it.
like, I'm wondering, do these people know who's walking their dog?
One person found out, and it was weird.
Like, did they ask you, like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
They. I don't remember how it
like
happened, but
you do understand.
They YouTube something, right? And then it wasn't the drum off thing that came up. It was a Black Flag thing that came up, and they were like, "Hey, we saw this name, and it looks a lot like your name." I was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's me.
yeah,
Like, you do understand that's the equivalent of, like, when Adele did her first album, whatever it was, 20 something or whatever it was called. She was still working in a record store in the back room and, like, didn't tell people that, like she was like, yeah, I just want to look at albums.
yeah." But like I got to play drums for David Lee Roth, and he was
That's
so
a
gracious.
psychopath. He's such a
Oh
psycho. I love
no.
him. He seems
Yeah,
like such a
he's
psycho.
like out there, man. But he's
There's
out
only
there.
one blonde in this group.
He's
That's the
out there.
famous line. You know that, right?
But he was also an EMT.
David Lee Roth was?
Yes. He was an EMT for LA County.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So imagine, like, someone shows up, like, I don't know, my gallbladder, whatever,
Right.
right? And you're put on this gurney, get wheeled into the ambulance, and
Fucking David Lee
jump.
Roth.
Yeah. It's like,
Paddles. Go ahead and jump. Paddles.
Hey, imagine.
That's
How? Yeah. So I don't know.
wild.
Never be above anything, man.
That's
Because
so awesome.
yeah,
That is
it's
wild. I had never heard. Like, how? Got to keep asking. So who else? Like, we can get it. Like, Isaias, there's, like, this is deep. I would need everyone to go to your website. It's scrolling along the bottom. IsaiasGil.com. You need to check his stuff out. You need to see what he's got going on. There's so much happening with this dude. I mean,
thanks, man.
and it's, you know what I think the best part about it all is you're one of the more positive dudes that I've talked to. And not that, look, let me correct that. Like, I talk to people all day long. That's why I'm saying that, not on the show, folks. I spend all day long on the phone with people. When I say this, my job is to find people jobs. I spend all day on the phone with people. And some people have had some tough times and ran into it. But you're just like a super positive dude where you're like, yeah, no, this is cool. I'm just rolling with the punches. I'm just rolling with the shit. We're just going out and doing it.
You have to, man. And what a privilege to get the experience, right? Like, because it would suck if I were like, oh, the pandemic happened and I've got nothing. And that thought went through my mind,
Yeah.
But you can either sit with your demons or dance with them. It's much more fun to dance with them.
Much more funner.
Much more funner. Metallica. That's a Metallica lyric.
That could be like, that could be. I think that was one of their most hit songs. Much more funner by Metallica. Much more fun. So my son's going to bring something over. Bring me that box that's on top of the record player. I do have a record player. I want you to understand that.
I'm going to send you Charlie's record.
I have a legit. So we're getting ready. We're going to close the house down, but I got to throw this stuff up on camera real quick. I have my
Yeah.
son bring it to me, who is one of my road dogs here. Here, let's put this up here for a second. You may have to hand me some of this stuff because I can't get to it. So we're doing we do show giveaways.
Cool.
We did. I don't know if you're a baseball fan or not. I'm a baseball fan, so we had
man.
Ian Anderson, Game 3 World Series winner, lives up where we live in the Albany, New York area. And was doing autographs. We had him sign a hat and a ball, and we gave it away. So, you and I will talk afterwards because as soon as this is over, we got to have a conversation afterwards.
Yeah, man.
But we're getting ready to do our next giveaway. So we've had some of the guests, and I just want to show. I put the post out, but I figure you're on here. This will be fun. You and I can do this, and we can show everybody who watches. So obviously, music guy, drumstick, signed drumstick from the band Punk is a Doornail.
Yeah,
which the lead singer, the drummer's amazing. He's been in a bunch of punk bands. The lead singer, who's also the lead guitarist, try to get that up for me, has also done. He's been in a noise band.
Okay.
Like, bro, do you remember like just when that was a thing? Like,
yeah,
like these noise bands, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. So he was in that, but now he's got Punk as a Doornail, and they play all over the place out in Cali. But he turned a skateboard into a guitar, called a skatar.
What,
bro? It's the most unique sound you'll ever hear. I'll have to introduce you to Keith. So we're giving away a Punk as a Doornail album.
Yeah, man.
Coming up, but and it's so wild because you can see people that were drawing it in the bottom.
Yeah.
So we're giving away a vinyl from them, a signed drumstick from them. We have Doug Dreyer, who lives out in Cali also, and he comes on the show every 3 months. He comes on. We talk about collecting. So he does these. Do you know what a breaker box is?
Yeah.
So he does breaker boxes.
Okay.
I just bought one. Cost me $200. But it's all Star Wars bounty hunters.
Dude.
So they're still out there. It's DCD
you have
Collect.
Boba, you have like
the robots, the assassin, the bounty hunter robots.
Yeah.
He's got all kinds of stuff. And he was just at WonderCon and he was like giving away, or not giving away, but selling the boxes. Yeah. And in these boxes were like a CGC gold label, which is the means it's autographed and verified. 7.5 first appearance of Boba Fett comic. Gave one away that was in one of those boxes. I was so mad because I wanted it. But we're giving away.
Now I'm looking.
Look at that.
Sorry. Oh.
2 original sketch cards.
Dude. The Green Goblin.
Green Goblin and Mephisto or Mysterio.
Mysterio, yeah.
And but 2 original sketch cards. But what are you looking at now? Tell me what you're looking at.
Well, I'm looking around. You have, I don't want to interrupt.
We got to go with the last one.
Yeah.
Are you? So I think you kind of got a little geek in you.
Yeah.
So I love Dungeons and Dragons. I listen to like 3 different Dungeons and Dragons podcasts. It's ridiculous. We actually got one of my favorite ones. The Dungeon Master is going to come on our show in May. It's called Here for the Rolls. I love the name.
Dude.
So we had Christopher Hedberg, Forged in Fire Season 7 champion, come on. And he was he does all these like crazy forgings. So he sent us this, which if you can see it.
Oh man.
Bro, it is a hand forged. That's scales. He showed me the picture. That was an individual piece of square bar stock that he did this. It's got feathering in the tail.
Dude, look at the end. Wow.
But it's a bottle
detail
opener.
to it.
But it's a bottle opener.
What?
It's a bottle opener. It's a dragon bottle opener. So if you're a D&D fan, look at this straight on. See?
Oh man, that is good.
And so he made this.
He's got the eyes
crazy
in there and everything.
You can't really see it on my camera. My light's on, but it's got a Forge Maker's mark in it.
Wow.
So it's legit his. So definitely his.
Well, never mind, man. I was gonna be like,
what do you got?
I was gonna be like, I'll send you like I've got like old drumstick that I used at the
Bro,
show.
send it if you got anything. So
I've
what
got
we're
I've
gonna
got
do
like
is we're gonna
some
put
broken
together
cymbals
another
back
giveaway.
here.
We're gonna put together another giveaway. You and I can talk about that after the show.
Yeah.
I always so these are things I think we have some amazing guests and some amazing folks like yourself that have
Thanks,
things
man.
that they can offer. So we're doing this giveaway.
Yeah.
It'll be we're actually going to do the drawing just before Doug comes on at the end of the month. So it'll be up for a while, getting some folks out there. So that's an opportunity. If we're in the Houston area, I just want to throw that out there. I didn't want to forget about it. I was thinking about it. I have a squirrel's brain.
Me too.
It's how we're able to do shit like this.
Right. You have to process things quickly.
I'm on the move. Just like when you said, who was your friend you said that you went out with the other day that you just got back at 5:30 in the morning with?
Oh, with Luba. Yeah, I was playing with him. Yeah.
You know what happened? The minute you say his name, you know what happens in my brain?
Forgot it.
Hi, my name is Luba. I live on the second floor. I live upstairs from you. Do you remember that? Hi, my name is Luca. That was a song called Hi, My Name is Luca from like the early mid 80s about this kid who was lived in an abusive household and explaining to the neighbor what was going on. And it was called Hi, My Name is Luca. My wife wanted to name our son Lucas Luca. And I was like, hell no. That song's about a kid getting his ass whooped. And I told all these people this and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, that was a huge song. Hi, my name is Luca.
Dude, I can't wait to share this with them.
Hi, my name is Luba.
Yeah.
It took a twist.
It took a twist, right? Because he's a great dude. And I'm like, is this why you're great? Because
you just can't handle it any other way?
Because you understand the pain. You know?
Oh, it's so great. So here we go. If I'm in Houston, is Houston the next show where somebody could see you? Where's the next time somebody could see you and throw their panties on the stage or whatever it is they do for the drama?
Well, don't do that. You're going to need those. And
enough.
Also... yeah. That's actually the sound that would happen
as they're coming through the air.
I'm like, no, that's how people get pink eye.
I'm gonna get
pink eye.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think Houston's up next. I'm going to be in Richmond, Virginia, in May with Leon the Third. And I think we're trying to do an East Coast run. So if that goes down, I would love to hang with you, man. Yeah, of course.
We'll try to find a spot. I'll tell you, the spot that I tell everyone up in the Albany area, besides SPAC is world famous, Saratoga Performing Arts Center. The spot here in Albany is if you could ever play the Egg.
The spot.
The Egg.
Oh, the Egg, sorry.
Playing the Egg is the spot, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that's where I saw Ben Folds.
Yeah.
No more intimate of a setting than the Egg. So the seating in it. So they call it the Egg because it looks like a spaceship, like a big egg.
Okay.
Out in front of the state capitol. And inside, it's all wood inside of it. So the acoustics are amazing. And then the seats are really high stadium style seating. So instead of it being like where most stadiums are at that angle, this goes really tall.
Oh, that would be super cool.
So everybody is kind of, you can have a nice sized crowd, but everyone is there.
And yeah,
you're not like pushed back from the artist. You may not have the best price seats, but you're just as good as anybody else. You're right there with the artist.
How cool.
It's called the Egg.
The Egg. I'm going to write that down.
Write that down. The Egg. Not egg,
man.
Just Egg. So
I'm trying to, man, now that things are happening again, the Egg. Got it. I don't know. Just the stuff with Black Flag was such a treat because now I know how easy it is to communicate with people, and just be like, hey, man, want to play here? What do you have going on?
Yeah.
That's it.
Dude, that's so awesome. All right, brother. Well, we're going to get ready to put a bow on this thing.
Yeah, man.
This is amazing. I feel like And for folks that don't believe me when I tell you, 9 out of 10 of my guests I've talked to once prior to this meeting. That's the idea here is that I don't want to know a ton about you
Sure.
beforehand. I want to know basics. No different than a bar conversation when the bartender says to you, "Hey, you play in one of them bands, right? Come here."
Yeah.
And you sit down and that's the goal here. And
That's great.
bro, it feels like you and I have known each other for a long time.
I
That's the vibe I
know.
got from you. The fact that you know Metallica is just
Oh man,
that you know Metallica.
they're unique.
Such
They're
a
just
unique thing.
without them. How
Metallica
could
is
there,
just so amazing.
dude?
It's a genre.
Metallica.
They've
It's
created a genre.
it's a lifestyle.
So my daughter does T-shirts. She just did a T-shirt for me for saving the bees because we had Eli the bee guy on. Did you know there's Italian bees? I have to say it with my hand shaking like this.
No.
How funny is this? You have Africanized bees that
Right.
are, like they call them this and they're the most aggressive. You have Caucasian bees that are almost as aggressive and are assholes. And then you have these great like honey making bees that don't want to be bothered and they're called Italian bees.
No, is that for real?
Dude, I swear to you. My bee guy is out in California and his name's Eli. He's amazing, but he told me about it. So we made a T-shirt for saving the bees. All the shirts that get sold
That's
on
rad.
our T Public site, T Public, the Above the Bar podcast. You can buy those, and I'm going to give that money to some Save the Bee charity. I haven't figured out one yet. I don't know one, but
That's great.
So check that out. But now with Metallica is getting a T-shirt. I have to talk to my daughter and be like, I need a T-shirt for like. We got to figure out what it looks like though. So, what does Metallica look like?
If you make a Metallica shirt, it has to be like. So I have my taco shirt on.
I like your taco shirt.
Yeah.
So I wore a band shirt, one of my favorite bands.
It has to be something like that, right?
Okay.
But like metal-ish.
Okay.
But then also you got to put like italic somehow. Like because it's got to be Metallica, right?
So like the letters have to kind of be offset, and metal, but at the same time have a very Spanish flair to them.
Right. Yeah,
like,
because
this is my favorite. There's another.
Yeah, man.
Gaslight Anthem. Gaslight Anthem,
dude. Yeah. Have you heard of a band North by North?
Why do I feel like I have?
From Chicago.
North by North. Why do I feel like I have?
Yeah, they're great, man. And the girl that plays drums, Kendra, she's incredible, and they make great shirts. So I'll find a North by North shirt. I'll send your way along with the Charlie album. And when you have a Metallica shirt, you send it my way. I will wear it at my next show.
Well, you're getting a show shirt as it is. All the guests get a show shirt.
Man.
We're going to talk about that after the show. But I gotta go back up before I lose it because let me do this real quick. This is so horrible.
Metallica.
This is shit that's supposed to happen after the show. I just want to make sure I don't lose the spell. He deleted it. You ass. Nathan, you deleted it. You ass. You ass. Matta. It was Mattallica.
Mattellica, right?
It was like there was no E. There was no E in it. That was the whole thing. It was Metallica. Metallica.
There was two L's.
There was definitely two L's. So it was like MATI. No, there was no. That was the whole thing. It was like it didn't even look like Metallica.
No, it didn't.
Mattalica. No, that still looks like. I think it was no A in the middle. There was like MATTL.
Two L's.
LL. Was there an I there? Look, he put it in there. He put it in there now. He gave up. MATTALICA.
There it is.
Thank you.
Coming up.
Nathan, I will make this shirt and I will send you one.
Oh,
I love
man.
my man, Nate. All right, brother. So let's get ready to put a bow on this thing. Close down the bar for the night. This was great. I'm having a blast here. Again, folks, please go look up Isaias Gil, ISAIAS Gil, GIL. Website is hisname.com. Go check him out. Go see what he's got going on. Shows in Houston. Should be coming to the East Coast here real soon.
Yeah,
we're,
man.
we're gonna have him all over the place. We're gonna get that shirt made. I can't. I'm loving every minute of it. That's one of the funniest that we've had in a while. I love Nate. Nate and I pick on each other all the time. It is
Dude, that's so great though.
I love him to death. He's one of the funniest guys I know, and rolls with the punches better than anybody. And he'll reach out to me and be like, "I got a guest. Who's that? Oh, you didn't know this guy like founded something incredible." I'm like, "How did you meet him?" He's like, "I just called him."
Yeah, man.
And I'm like,
that's the thing. You just call.
Him. He's
just
like,
make the call.
Nate's like, "I just called."
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I'm gonna go over here going, let me see if I can find him on LinkedIn. I can search him out.
Right.
Like I want to talk to the guy who did the show Bong Appetit.
Yeah.
I want to talk to that guy because he's like a writer and he's very into that world. And I just find it fascinating to me that we have turned something so taboo for so long that this guy's doing a whole show, cooking with it, getting like real chefs. It blows my mind.
I bet you're more connected than you realize.
I am. Somebody I know probably can find this guy, and I just haven't put my full blown feelers out. There's my full blown feelers, folks.
There it is.
I don't remember his name right now, but if you can get the host of Bong Appetit to come on my show, I will buy you. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll find something. So as always on every show, brother, the guest gets the last word. So the last word is yours, and don't log off after this. What is the last word?
Be kind, rewind.
Be sure to push your stool in.
Yeah.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation. Found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.